Welcome back to the set of Thrive America. We're here at Blank Stage Theater, joined by Dave Savage, our very special guest. So Dave, we're going to kind of jump right back into our interview here. And the journey of the inventor, if you will, is both exciting and I'm sure eye-opening, probably sometimes sobering, because the excitement I can only imagine of inventing and coming up with that idea can be exhilarating, but then meeting a roadblock of business plans and getting a patent and then coming up with the idea of having to establish a prototype, it could just be a maze. But your organization, from what I understand, kind of answers and builds an alliance with other people who are in the same boat. Let's talk about prototype. What is the idea of a prototype, or should I get a patent first? And help me understand what that
The
is.
sequence of events.
Sure.
Typically, a prototype is a way of testing to see whether your product will work at all and to see what your customers would prefer feature-wise. Oftentimes, people will create a product or a prototype based on the manufacturing methods and the materials they're familiar with. And if only they knew about fiberglass or other materials, the product could be longer, shorter, whatever. An example that we had, one of our members had, was they designed the product and it was just a half an inch larger than a standard carton. And so all of a sudden they had it patented, they designed it, and they realized now they had to have a custom box line. They now had to order 1,000 boxes custom size, and they could have made it shorter, but they didn't think about all the details of that. Some products, or in fact most of our inventors, are doing relatively simpler things. There are people who are doing nuclear reactor things and much more complicated, but a lot of people think they have to just design one prototype, they'll get a contract, and they'll go to market. Well, the average is 30 to 40 different variations of their product. And each time they do it, they realize they've talked to new people, and they realize it could be done in different ways. And oftentimes it looks nothing like what it did when they started out. And one of the big problems is if they go to patent early on, then they are making changes, and the changes are like remodeling changes, very, very expensive. So at a certain point, you have to go with people who said, hey, it's suitable, it's like software, it's good enough, we'll make changes and improvements as we go along. But the importance is getting an idea of its usefulness. And of course, people are reluctant to show everybody what it looks like before they have some protection. And so you want to be able to record when you did things so that you know there's a starting point of this journey. But it is important to get an idea of whether the thing is useful and whether people will value it for them to spend the money to solve the problem they've got. Inventors have a way of overestimating the value monetarily of their solution for the end user. And so you have to get an idea, again, is this enough of a savings of time, energy, money to have them change over what they've been doing? Yeah. And it's a tough call.
Yeah, I imagine maybe this video can help qualify some of the people. What's coming to me is the sobering reality that can become upon the inventor with the realization that, oh man, I didn't do my prototype first. How many people give up when they get into this process and it's just too much paperwork, it's too much hassle, it's too much of meeting new people? Is there a fair number of people?
Well, the vast majority. Even in our group, when you have a raise of hands and 70 people who've actually got products in the market, 5, 6, or 7 of them, and most people are on the journey, and it is overwhelming. Even I, who's president of the group and been a leader for the group for a long time, I'm overwhelmed by the things I have to learn. There's certain innocence and naivety of realizing you think you know enough, and the more you learn about each step, you realize, wow, there's questions I haven't asked that I need to know. I was just at a Web Entrepreneurs event here in Atlanta and realized, oh my gosh, this is a little tougher than I thought it was going to be to get it done. Things always cost more, take longer than you ever thought possible, just like remodeling.
Yeah, it seems like the first place to start, if I was an inventor and a savvy one, is stay up all night, think of the idea. But before you even do all that, I think what I'm sensing is you just gotta ask some people, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? Do you think it would sell? Do you think it would resonate with the mass public? And if you're getting resounding yeses, then maybe move forward.
Yeah, I think you can phrase it in a way. If I had a tool that would enable you to take off your water filter in 30 seconds rather than the typical 5 minutes that you're spending now, would that be worth $29.95, $19.95, or $5.99 to you? How much would you spend for something that would do what I'm looking to have, the solution that I'm looking to provide? One of my products that I had thought I had, my daughter was in the theater department and in high school, and she was cleaning black paintbrushes. And I thought there's got to be a better way. She was massaging them like we all do under the faucet, and they weren't doing very good. It was taking for a long time for a $3 brush. I said there's got to be a better way. Did a lot of research and found out that I could design something for 39 cents that would do the job, but that nobody was interested in selling it because the cost of a roller was worth more. If one little speck of paint went on it, it made a mark on the wall, and it was just cheaper to buy new paintbrushes. It's part of the cost, a small part of the cost of painting a room.
Yeah.
So I gave it up. But it solved the problem. It was affordable to do, but the paint companies and the brush companies just had no spark to it.
Yeah, and I think something has to be said about the sizzle, because I know I work in the idea creation business, and I've done some independent films, and a lot of times I'll invent an idea for a movie and or short or something like that, and then I'll be halfway along and someone will come up to me and say, Brent, that's already been done. So-and-so did it somewhere else. And I think that what I've come to realize is that a lot of the ideas have already been done, but it's how you package it, it's how you market it, and it's how you put it out there. So let's talk a little bit about the marketing of a product and putting the sizzle behind something. How would you address that concern?
Well, you mentioned that other people have done it before, and I said, that's great. You want to find out how they're doing. Many times a product may fail, not because of the product, because the guy ran out of money, it wasn't marketed very well, he didn't have the right audience, and he didn't describe what he had effectively. So you got to find out why the product, how the market is doing with the competition, and see if the market is growing fast enough so that a distributor who's selling it well usually initially wants an exclusive. Well, if he's doing well, then the word gets out among the other distributors, and they'll want a similar product. So just because it's done there, you have to say how many channels of distribution are there, and oftentimes, especially a new entrepreneur, only has the time and resources to go sell on the web and not retail and not wholesale. So most people underestimate the total channels of marketing that are possible, and in sections of the country that where it's effective. You could be the king of diamond saw blades in upper Wisconsin, make a dandy living with 40 employees. So to think that you have to rule the world is sometimes overwhelming, and it's important to think about what kind of lifestyle you want out of your business, how big do you want it to be.
Yeah. I just keep empathizing with the inventor here and seeing them with this daunting maze of questions, and that's why what you've created sounds such a great thing, because you're creating a family, a real good support system. Something about marketing came to me in a sense of self-distributing your product. I think now we're moving into an age where we can really build a website, build a PayPal, build a merchant account, and do some innovative marketing ideas. Do you see that a lot, or do you educate people to go through certain channels and try to be picked up by Target and Walmart?
The ability to get shelf space, which is so valuable to the retailer, they have so many people with products already on the market, always doing well. In order for you to gain shelf space, you have to demonstrate that you have the ability to justify that space in their catalog or on their shelf. And so if you can say, hey, I've sold 6,000 units on my own by this method on my own website with this amount of distribution, I think with your money or your shelf space, we can double that or triple it, whatever it may be. But yes, it is like with writing a book. You are on your own initially to demonstrate it, to pull in the stores, go in the store, cold call, and I've got an idea. And if you can show not only a first order, but a repeat order from the store owner, and a promise to do more, and you build that until you go up the food chain of each in larger stores. There are companies, I think Billy Mays has a show on TV going on the infomercials, but even they are hoping that the product will have some traction beforehand to make it go even further.
That's great. That's great. Dave, we're going to bring you right back for the last and final segment where I'm going to ask you how we can all thrive in this economy. Thank you.